Hey, everybody, welcome back. Kevin Yogi, original Grognard, here at Seattle Snowpocalypse 2019. Yeah, I know, for you Midwesterners and Nor'easterner types, our paltry 4 to 6 inches may not seem like a hell of a lot, but this is literally more snow we've had in Seattle than we've had in Seattle for like the last 12 years. So, let me enjoy my snow, please. I know it's not a lot. I grew up in Denver. I know what snow is. I remember snow drifts 8 to 10 feet high. We don't get snow here in Seattle. Allow me my luxury. All right, let's get to some gaming. All right, back inside where it's a little bit warmer, and we are continuing our playthrough of... what are we doing? Second World War Z. Avalanche Press. SOPAC box set. Scenario number 5, Battle of Cape Esperance. And we are still in the first turn of the 22 impulses per turn. Each turn basically represents an hour, so that's kind of why naval gunfire actions can be, quick, sharp, brutal affairs over very quickly. So we're seeing that pretty much in how this turn is going so far. All right, so what we're at impulse 10. Non-initiative player moves 4 to towed ships and towing ships. All right, so do we have non-initiative? That's the Japanese. Let's see, do we have any speed 4? We do have speed 4. We have the destroyers. All right. So the destroyers get to move. However, they're all out of torpedoes. Well, the Fubuki has a reload, but that's not going to be available till next turn. A couple tertiaries. Let's see. Non-initiative player moves 4 to towing ships. Do we stay and fight? I don't know why I'm yawning. I got sleep last night, I swear. Let's see. Where are the... Okay, so here's the destroyers. What are we going to do with it? Lots of American ships. We've launched our torpedoes. Our tertiary guns are pretty much worthless against the cruisers because they're all armored up. I think it's time we got the hell out of Dodge. I think the Japanese have realized that they are not going to do much good against the American forces. All right, so I think they're going to turn and make a run for it. All right, so that's basically it. I mean, that's the entire impulse right there. That's everybody who was moving. I just moved. All right, so we'll go down to the next impulse 11. Initiative player moves 4 to towing ships. All right, so let's take a look at the U.S. Does the U.S. destroyers? No, U.S. destroyers are only 3s. So the initiative player, and well, let's take a look at the cruisers. But yeah, the cruisers are only speed 3 as well. All right, so again, not much happening. Impulse is over. Again, like I said, if you know what you're doing, if your opponent knows what you're doing, you're going to burn through these tactical turns really quick. I'm taking a long time just because I'm yawning my head off and I'm explaining things. All right, gunfire. All right, back to simultaneous gunfire. Although the initiative player does declare his fire first. So what do we got? Let's start off with the Salt Lake City and the San Francisco. Let's see. The Salt Lake City has got 5 guns left. Or 5 dice left. That really isn't an accurate calling to say they're turrets or guns, or it's just that's their fire that they have. They're going to be firing out the front, so it's going to be reduced by 75. 75% of 5 is 3 point something, which rounds up to 4. Okay, so 4 dice. I think they're just gonna. I think the Salt Lake City is just gonna keep pounding on the Furutaka. And I have no tertiary guns because the Salt Lake City's tertiary guns were knocked out. So let's see. We're looking at 6s to hit. There's no other modifiers. I mean, I could take a look at the modifier chart again, but as we remember, there's not really much to it. Torpedo fired, target ship, range is 0-1. Nope. All the way down, nope. All right, so we're looking at 6s to hit. And we got 1 hit. All right, so we got 1 hit on the Furutaka.
And hit location 8, which is secondary guns. Not good for the Furitaka. Seeing so she's really been getting hammered. So the Furitaka, actually I should have only marked that as half because she'll still be able to she'll still be able to declare her fire damages at the end. Now let's see if I can erase that. There we go. Only mark it as a half box. All right. San Francisco has got 6 guns left. And it is going to go ahead and fire at the Kinagasawa. It's firing out the front. 75% of its normal firepower is going to be 4 dice. Again, we're looking at 6s to hit. Ooh, finally. She gets a couple hits in. That's my die. There we go. All right, so first hit location is an 11, and the second hit location is a 10. So we're looking at a 10 and 11 on the hit table. 10 is a hull, 11 is 2 hull and -1 speed factor. Ooh, that's bad. So the Kinagasawa will end up taking 3 hull hits. And we'll go ahead and mark those now because that's not going to have any effect on combat. -1 speed, so that's going to drop her to a 2+, but she just lost more than half of her hull points, so that drops her another movement point. So she is now speed 1+. I don't think she's going to be escaping the American forces. Okay, now we got the light cruisers of the Boise and Helena, which have got, each one of them have got battery is 6. And they're firing out their front, so reduce 75%. And both ships are going to be firing at the Aoba, so the second ship is going to lose half of its dice. So yeah, there we go. Pretty simple. Oh, I had a tertiary on the San Francisco. I should have fired. I'm not going to worry about it. All right, so this is going to be going at the Aoba. We're looking at 6s to hit. Ooh, 2 hits again. Japanese fleet is getting tore up. All right, so the 2 hits, a 7 and a 6. Tertiary primary. So the Aoba is going to lose secondary because they don't have any primary guns, so it automatically falls to secondary, and they're going to lose a tertiary. They do have tertiary guns each, so both of them have 2 tertiary guns. Now go ahead and fire them. 6s, 1 hit. Location 6 is going to be, probably blow up this hit chart as well, tertiary as well. So she's going to take another, so the Aoba is going to take another tertiary damage. Mark that off. All right, now we got the destroyers. 1, 2, 3, 5 destroyers. Each of them have 2 dice. I think we're going to fire, 3 of the destroyers are going to fire at the Hatsuki, and 2 of the destroyers are going to fire at the Fubuki. All right, so again, we're firing out of our bow, so it's going to be 75%, which is going to be 1.5, which is going to be rounded up to 2. So the primary of the Laffey, Buchanan, and Makala is going to get 2 dice. And then the other 2 ships are going to get half their dice, so they're going to have 4 dice to fire at the Hatsuki. So we're looking at 6s still. Nothing. Now the Fahrenholt and the Duncan firing, primary ship firing out the bow. 2, 75%, round up, it's going to be 2. Extra ship firing, or more than the first. Every ship after the first half their dice. So we're going to have 3 dice firing. Need 6s. Nope, bunch of nothing. All right, flips back over to the Japanese. Now they declare theirs. The Japanese Let's start off with their destroyers. The Hatsuki has got 2 tertiaries left, and the Fubuki has got 2 tertiaries left. And they're going to be firing at a destroyer. Let's go ahead and fire at the Laffy. Now this time we are going to be firing out of our stern, because this is, out of the stern arc. So their firepower is reduced in half, which is going to be 1 dice. And then the second ship firing is going to be reduced in half, which is 0.5, rounded up to 1 dice. So we got 2 dice firing at the Laffy. 6s, ooh, got 1 hit. So there's 1 hit at a 5. And 5 is secondary. The Laffy has no secondary guns, so it automatically cascades down to tertiary. So let's just go ahead and completely fill that box in. And they didn't take any damage on their tertiary guns, so no need to mark any of that off. Okay, so now we've got the Furitaka, Kinagasama, and the Aoba. Let's see. Let's make the Kinagasama the primary ship. And they're going to be continuing firing at the Salt Lake City. So they got 4 dice. This is going to be broadside, so they can use their full allotment. The Furitaka has got 2 secondary guns left. But since it's after the first ship firing at the same target, that's reduced in half. The Aoba also has 2 guns left, but she took a damage this turn. Well, it doesn't matter. The damage takes place at the end of the turn. But more than 1 ship firing at the same target. And the Kinagasama has 2 tertiary guns. So let's do the secondaries first. Again, we're still looking at just straight up 6s to hit. And hey, okay, so we got 1 hit on the Salt Lake City. Let's take a look at damage, location, spin, 6. We just rolled that. That's a tertiary gun. So the Salt Lake City has no tertiary guns left, so that turns into a hull hit. So we'll mark the hull hit off. Let's see. The Kinagasama has 2 tertiary guns left. And the Aoba has 1 tertiary gun that they can add into this fight. Go ahead and fill in all those boxes for the damage. So we're looking at 6s to hit. And nothing. All right, well, let's see. That's all for combat. Let's make sure we mark... all the boxes are filled in for damage being done at the end of the combat. All right, so that's the gunfire. Next impulse, torpedo. Let's see. The Japanese, they're cruisers. Furitaka and the Aoba both have got torpedoes left. However, the way the ships are still set up, it's going to be it's going to be threading the needle. So I need 6s to hit, but threading the needle is going to be a -1 on the dice roll, which makes it a 7, so it means I can't even hit with them. Not good. Not good. Japanese are getting the snail snot pounded out of them. All right, so that ends that initiative. On to initiative 14. Non-initiative player moves 4, 3, and 1 ships. All right, well, let's take a look, because we do have some damage that has occurred. The destroyers are 4s. The Furitaka is a 3. Kinagasama is a 1, but the Aoba is a 2, and this is only 4, 3, and 1 ships can move. So the Aoba is going to be left behind. That's unfortunate. She's going to lag behind. So I think the destroyers are just going to go ahead, weep, make a run for it. Japanese ships are getting the snail snot beat out of them. They've lost most of their primary guns. The only decent things they've got left is the torpedoes. But you know what? I think they're going to go ahead and turn and run as well. So that'll flip it to the initiative. Whoops, the Aoba gets stuck behind, because she's a speed 2. Okay, initiative player moves 4, 3, and 1 ships, which is the entire American fleet. So... could pursue them or pull broadsides. And you know what? Let's go. we're content not to have to pursue them. We've not lost any ships yet, so let's be content with that. So we're gonna pull that there, and then we're gonna switch back to gunfire. You know what? I think, was this 15 minutes? I think I've given enough of an idea of how the tactical system plays. I don't think we need to go through any more of it. I mean, it's just rinse, wash, repeat with shooting and you needing 6s to hit. I mean, I could go through it, spend another 10, 15 minutes, but I think the AOBA is probably going to get wrecked and left behind. And I think the other Japanese ships will probably escape. Am I going for the victory conditions? No. Again, this is just a test game for me to show you how the tactical system works. So, but looking at the turn order, we'd have another gunfire torpedo phase, and then one more movement phase, and then one more gunfire. So yeah, basically looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 movement and shooting phases in a turn in an hour long. So basically, every one of these 5 is 10 minutes, 12 minutes, right around there. So it gives you it kind of gives you an idea of how quick and brutal combat could be. But yeah, I think at this point the Japanese fleet would do everything they could to try to escape, and I think the American fleet would be happy to let them. The AOBA will probably get totally wrecked. And the rest of the Japanese ships will escape, and probably not much more damage could be done. Could not get an angle to get those torpedoes off. At the one point when I had a chance to get some more torpedoes off, I had lost the torpedo tubes. So, and then just bad dice rolling on my part. I don't think any of the Japanese torpedoes that I actually did launch actually hit. So you kind of also see the differences between the Japanese cruisers and the American cruisers. So the American cruisers, no torpedoes, but their turrets were armored, which meant that the Japanese secondaries are the only weapons that could affect them. Tertiaries aren't going to affect the American cruisers. Well, for the most part. I mean, it could affect the AA and tertiaries, and then, actually can't even hurt the hulls. So the American cruisers definitely outgun the Japanese and are out-armored the Japanese, but we didn't get to see the long lances come into play. Those long lances can really, really hurt when, even the cruisers carry more torpedoes than American destroyers do. And plus, you got to remember with the long lances, you get that +2 damage roll when you're rolling damage with the long lances. So if the torpedoes can hit, that's where a lot of the Japanese damage is going to come from. Japanese destroyers, pound for pound, definitely way more than the American destroyers. I mean, looking at the victory points, Japanese destroyers worth is 18, American destroyers are worth 8. They got 1 extra tertiary. The U.S. has 1 extra AA, and definitely the torpedoes, and they're a hell of a lot quicker. Hull is the same, and fuel is pretty much the same as well. So, anyways, that is a look at the tactical system for Second World War at Sea from Avalanche Press. I am wanting to do the operational, or at least do some turns, maybe not an entire playthrough of operational, but I do want to show off the operational. I'm going to do Coral Sea for that, because the Coral Sea, I think the Coral Sea operation, the 3 or 4 day one, is good and manageable, especially, and then that'll give me a little chance to test out the solitaire tables for the operational system. And yeah, we'll yawning my head off here again. I will probably sit down and do a video kind of going over how the operational level of this game works before I get into the gameplay. So expect one more video before we get into operational level gameplay. But I think we're good. I think everybody's got a grasp on how the tactical system works. Questions, comments, complaints, criticisms in the comment section. I'll see everybody next time. See ya.